Rick Harrison, a familiar face to millions of viewers worldwide, was once known as a reliable and knowledgeable figure on the hit TV series Pawn Stars, where he shared his expertise on historical artifacts. Over the years, Rick became more than just a host. He symbolized a blend of deep knowledge and charm in communication. However, his image has now been shattered. The latest video, recorded after he served a lengthy sentence, has left the public stunned, forcing everyone to rethink what happened to the man they once trusted. In the stillness of his prison cell, Rick's vacant eyes not only mirror his isolation, but also a life that has been stripped of all human values. The footage from the leaked video is not just a glimpse of a man serving his sentence. It presents a starkly different version of Rick Harrison, one that sharply contrasts with the image the public once knew. In the video, he is completely isolated, stripped of everything that once gave him purpose. But is this video a true reflection of his reality? Or could it be just the surface of a deeper conspiracy, a campaign that stretches beyond legal boundaries, filled with hidden meanings and undisclosed intentions? From the bright lights of the Pawn Stars set to the shadows of his prison cell, from admiration to accusations, what has really happened to Rick Harrison? What is the truth behind these images that have captivated the public? Let's dive into this mystery in today's video. If you're curious about this story and want to learn more, leave a comment with the number 1. If not, leave a comment with the number 0. And don't forget to hit the like button, share this video with your friends, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on the next exciting videos. Now, let's dive into the truth behind the shocking downfall of Rick Harrison. Rick Harrison became a symbol of trust starting in the early 2010s. The name Pawn Stars wasn't just the title of a reality TV show. It represented an era where viewers could sit back, relax, and immerse themselves in history through antiques and dramatic negotiations. As the main host, Rick was the heart and soul of the entire show. The true appeal of Pawn Stars wasn't in sensational scripting or typical reality TV antics, but in its simplicity, authenticity, and educational value. Rick Harrison appeared as a knowledgeable, principled man with a sense of humor, making viewers feel as if they were learning something new with every episode. A World War II story, an ancient Roman coin, or a map worth tens of thousands of dollars, Rick brought history to life with every transaction. In the public eye, Rick Harrison was the perfect blend of a savvy businessman and a sincere historian. A man who could look back at the past with both a commercial eye and a deep appreciation for its value. But this unique combination would ultimately become the catalyst for his downfall. As Rick's fame soared, so did his business empire. His store quickly expanded from a small pawn shop in Las Vegas to a major tourist destination, drawing hundreds of people just to see Rick in person. The items on display were no longer everyday goods, but rare, valuable pieces, prompting experts to raise an eyebrow and ask, how could a pawn shop possess artifacts that belong in museums or national collections? And then, the darkness began to spread. There were shady financial reports, shell companies and tax havens, broken deals and artifacts with no documentation about their true provenance. Each new piece of the puzzle revealed a troubling tale about the trade-off between profit and ethics. Rick was no longer just suspected of being an appraiser. He was now accused of manipulating history for personal gain. Suspicion quickly evolved into a full-blown investigation, leading to an indictment. A major federal case was filed, supported by hundreds of pieces of evidence, dozens of witnesses, and countless unanswered questions. Did Rick truly not know the origins of the artifacts? Or did he turn a blind eye to them for his own benefit? Prosecutor Pam Bondi raised these hard-hitting questions, slowly unraveling the layers of the carefully constructed facade Rick had spent over a decade building. Rick Harrison's appearance in court stunned many. Gone was the confident, charming man who once captivated audiences on television. In his place was a quiet Rick, dressed in a gray suit, his eyes hollow and his hair graying. As prosecutor, Pam Bondi presented a series of documentary evidence, emails, and videos detailing illegal transactions. Rick didn't argue or deny anything. He simply sat in silence. But the moment that truly shook the courtroom came when a Torah scroll, confirmed to have been stolen from the Holocaust Museum, was brought forward. Rick had purchased it with cash, no records, and hid it in the basement under his house. Rick cried, not from remorse, but from fear. The weight of the truth had finally caught up with him. It was the moment Rick Harrison realized that his fame, his past, and his once proud television empire were no longer enough to shield him from punishment. The look he gave the prosecutor was no longer one of confidence, as if he were above the law. It was the look of a man who understood he had been defeated. A legend had fallen. The man once seen as the most trustworthy father figure on television had become a symbol of betrayal. Online platforms quietly began removing episodes of Pawn Stars, and former colleagues cut ties with him. Photos of Rick at the shop resurfaced with chilling captions. "I can't believe this man betrayed our culture." The public, once enamored, now recoiled in shock and disbelief. The image of Rick Harrison as a trustworthy father figure on screen had completely crumbled, and when a clip of him in prison was leaked, it was the moment the public had been waiting for. The moment this once beloved man had to confront the full weight of his actions. The video, reportedly recorded secretly at federal prison Allenwood P in Pennsylvania, surfaced about 6 weeks after Rick was officially convicted of 3 major charges: tax evasion, money laundering, and international cultural trafficking. Although the video was just 2 minutes and 49 seconds long, it was filmed with a small device, possibly hidden in a pocket or sleeve, and was blurry and shaky. Yet that rawness made the footage feel more authentic and chilling, immediately sparking intense debate on social media. The public could now see the man behind the screen, stripped of his former image, facing the stark reality of his downfall. In the clip, Rick Harrison, who was once the face of one of America's most popular reality TV shows, is seen sitting with his head down on a metal dining table, firmly bolted to the cold concrete floor. Fluorescent light flickers and reflects off of him. His pale, tired, soulless face, Rick says nothing, barely moves, only gripping the edge of the table as if holding on to the only thing keeping him tethered to reality. A fellow inmate walks by, muttering something vague, possibly mocking, causing Rick to glance up for a brief moment. That fleeting look exposes a heartbreaking blend of shame, exhaustion, and despair. The final haunting moments of the video show a plastic food tray sitting in front of him, still untouched. A guard walks by, saying something unclear, prompting Rick to give a slight shake of his head before slowly standing up, leaving the tray behind and heading toward a dark corner of the dining room. As the camera shakes and fades, the rawness of the scene lingers, leaving the audience shaken. Even in its shaky, grainy form, the video conveyed more than words ever could. It was a silent testament to his fall from grace. Within 24 hours after the clip surfaced, the term Rick Harrison prison footage quickly climbed the Google search rankings across North America. But it wasn't just Rick's gaunt appearance that concerned the public, but also how he was being treated in prison. Leaked information from detailed reports by former staff and insider sources began to paint a clearer picture. A former guard revealed that Rick was being held in a medium-security solitary confinement room, a place for prisoners considered vulnerable or severely convicted. In theory, this is meant to be a protective measure, but in reality, it's pure isolation. No friends, no conversations, no human interaction, just cold, gray walls and the haunting echo of footsteps in empty hallways. This isn't protection, an anonymous source told The Guardian. This is a form of prolonged psychological punishment. The isolation isn't just physical. It chips away at the mind, amplifying the silence and the weight of one's own thoughts. For someone like Rick, who had once thrived on public attention, the admiration and rage from his audience had faded. No one calls him a TV star anymore. No one asks for photos or signatures. In prison, he is nothing more than a name paired with a number, or worse, a symbol of betrayal against the cultural values he once represented. Moreover, investigative journalists uncovered testimony from several of Rick's fellow inmates. One inmate, who was released 3 months ago, revealed that Rick was frequently ostracized, especially by those who had served in the military or belonged to minority communities with which he had once had close cultural ties. Many of these inmates were deeply outraged by the crimes he was convicted of, particularly the trafficking of religious and historical artifacts. For them, it wasn't just fraud, it was sacrilege. A former inmate remarked on the remarkable aspect of the leaked video. It didn't show Rick being physically attacked or subjected to overt violence, but rather the subtle contempt conveyed through looks, words, and the indifference of the guards. This created an oddly pitiable image of him. Many psychologists argue that the video showcases a sophisticated form of punishment, where the criminal isn't harmed physically, but is instead slowly stripped of their identity and social existence. For someone like Rick, who had once been at the height of public attention, this may be the harshest punishment of all. Not physical pain, but the slow erasure of everything that once defined him. So why has this clip caused such a profound shock? In the next part, we'll dive deeper into the lives of famous individuals behind bars, examining their fall from the public eye to their isolation. Once, Rick Harrison was a staple on weekend television. With his deep voice, firm attitude, and wise persona, combined with his approachable manner, he embodied the image of a true American man, honest, resourceful, and successful. On Pawn Stars, Rick was always the final authority in negotiations, the voice of reason in the family, and someone millions of viewers trusted. He was a father, a teacher, and a guide to the value of history. But now, that image has been replaced by something far darker. What does this transformation mean, and why does it stir such strong reactions? Let's explore. However, the leaked video presents a very different picture of Rick. No longer a public figure, he is now a solitary man, alienated even from himself. This transformation is not solely a product of the prison environment, but also how he is seen behind closed walls, where the respect he once commanded has now become the reason for his isolation. A closer look at the video reveals Rick deliberately avoiding interaction with those around him. He steers clear of eye contact and refrains from engaging in conversations, always maintaining a physical distance. This could be a defensive reflex, but it also signifies his deep awareness of the dramatic shift in how he is perceived by those around him. The man who once held authority and admiration now appears to be fully aware of his fall from grace. In the prison environment, where unwritten rules often hold more weight than official regulations, a new position has been created for Rick within the prison's hierarchy. It's not that of a feared drug kingpin, as many might assume, but rather as a cultural criminal, a label that carries deep disdain and rejection. One of the primary reasons for Rick's isolation stems from the nature of the crime he was convicted of. His involvement in trafficking religious and historical artifacts isn't just a legal issue. It's a violation of values deeply respected within the prison, particularly among those who have strong cultural or historical ties. For many, his crimes are seen not only as fraudulent, but as sacrilege, further solidifying his social alienation behind bars. For inmates with military backgrounds or deep connections to indigenous communities, trafficking in religious or cultural artifacts isn't merely a legal violation, it's a profound moral betrayal. Cultural researcher Megan Holile, in a study published by The Atlantic, highlighted that for many communities scarred by colonialism, these stolen artifacts represent the last pieces of their cultural identity. For a wealthy, well-known person to reduce them to mere display objects is an affront to history itself. This betrayal has now come back to haunt Rick in prison, where the concept of justice holds